That being said, guys, let's get on with our fourth topic tonight. Todd Starnes, man, this fucking douchebag. I mean, like this is pretty fucking epic. This one, it's a short video. It's only a minute long. We'll rant about this for 10 minutes, and we'll get on to the next topic for 10 minutes. Todd Starnes warns pastors who have refused to perform gay marriages to, quote, prepare for hate crime charges. Here we go.
The Supreme Court's decision means gay rights now trump religious liberty. And if you think the cultural purging of the southern states has been breathtaking, wait until you see what the activists are about to unleash on American Christians. Churches and faith-based organizations should be prepared to be hit with lawsuits and government investigations. Pastors who refuse to perform gay marriages and preach from the Bible should prepare for hate crime charges. All dissent will be silenced. But I believe that an overwhelming number of Christians will defy the law. Governor Mike Huckabee said this just moments ago. I will not acquiesce to an imperial court, and he vows to resist and reject judicial tyranny. In closing, I'm reminded of something the late Charles Colson wrote. If we're not willing to fight this, even to the point of breaking the law or refusing to recognize the law, then we lose everything. Given the choice of obeying God or the government, I believe Christians will obey God, even if there is hell to pay.
I mean, like, what a douchebag. I mean,
God.
so Starnes calls it a hate crime. This guy doesn't know. He doesn't know what a fucking hate crime is. For pastors to refuse same-sex couple marriages, which probably won't happen. What logic is this fucking guy using? I mean, like, maybe someday he'll realize and understand what many in the LGBT community have been going through for decades: hatred, shunning, killing, the suicide rate, because they're so hated. You know what I mean? The violence against the LGBTQ community, it's just fucking amazing, man.
You're going to have to forgive me. What the hell does the Q stand for?
Queer.
Okay. Is
Queer.
that different than gay or lesbian?
It's for the gender fluids, for the non-binary. It includes the gender fluid people, the non-binary people, people who are not men or women.
Or definable, I guess.
Yeah. It's everyone else.
Okay.
Everyone else
Octopus is a
gendered and cis. And
You have to understand, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just fighting for them fags' rights, I'm like a redneck that just can't get enough of them gays. I just love them to death, and they love me. It's just an ongoing thing. Now, I mean, Todd Starnes is maybe the biggest clown on Fox News, which is an accomplishment.
He took Huckabee's job.
This idea that he's like, now we're gonna defy the law. Well, wait a second. Wait, the law that you were like all about. It was all about the law up until the law disagreed with you, and now it's time to defy the law. And he's going to try and make Christians into the next Rosa Parks by fucking not marrying gay people. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, look, what does religious liberty or religion in general have to do with gay rights, civil rights, human rights? I mean, like, and be treated. What does that have to do in comparison to be treated equal under the law? Really
if I were a Christian, I would be really pissed at this because what they're doing in order to get this point across. Look at this. What they're doing here. Okay, they're trying to protect their bigotry. They're trying to protect their preferential treatment. They're trying to protect their power. They can't use that. They can't say the truth. They can't say, well, I want to use my religion to stop you from acting your way. So they say, this is my religion. My religion requires me to do this. This is my religious right. I'm not a bigot. My God is a bigot. I'm not the evil asshole. My God is making me do this. And when they do this, they equate Christianity with bigotry. Now,
I guess that was the point I was getting to earlier with do bad people just use religion as an excuse, or does religion turn good people bad?
And sometimes religious people can actually be good. You actually can be, I don't know if you guys know this, you can be a Christian and not a bigot.
Oh, yeah.
You see?
Oh, yeah.
So if you can be Christian and not a bigot, and this is only about the bigotry, then what they're doing is they're making all of Christianity look bad because they're making it look like Christianity requires bigotry, and that Christianity and bigotry go hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, but I don't think it's a majority of people that are bigots. In the Christian demographic. If we go to the total demographic, I mean, like a lot of the Christian people I know, Catholicism, Catholics in my family, they support gay marriage, and the numbers show that. But I don't think all of them would adhere to the bigotry of the Bible.
No, of course, a lot of good people wouldn't. But these folks, these Todd Starnes and Huckabee, Kennedy and O'Reilly, they are saying this is about Christianity. Look at how the Christians are under attack. It's not Christianity that's under attack at all. It's bigotry. If anything's under attack, it's bigotry. And the only thing that's being attacked is the bigot's control over other people.
Correct.
So they invent this defensive posture. They say, I'm going to defy. I'm not going to marry gay people because I refuse. And you can throw me in jail if you want to. But nobody cares. Because nobody wants that. That's not even a part of the issue. They know it. Don't think they don't. They're just covering for their asses. They are lying. That's the word. Because they don't want to admit that this is not about people forcing preachers to marry outside their faith, any more than it's about forcing preachers to give bar mitzvahs, any more than it's about forcing any rabbis to do any sort of Eucharist or give communion. It's silly. It's not about that at all. We all know that. This is about allowing non-adherents to live their lives as they see fit. And that's what this is about. There is no hate crime in saying, I don't want to marry you two if it's a religious doctrine. Go somewhere else. It is a hate crime if you say, I don't want you to get married, therefore I'm going to use my political power to enforce my bigotry on you to stop you. And then I'm going to lie and pretend that the reason that I'm doing it is because your marriage affects me negatively in a realistic way.
It's like
those are all lies. And we have to understand that those are all lies being used by the religious right to cover up the fact that they are fucking bigots.
They're the ones.
That's all we're talking about.
They're the ones.
A gay shop could just tell a gay couple we're too busy. We have too much business. I'm sorry. They don't have to say no because you're gay.
My religion doesn't.
That's a different issue, right? That's not so much about gay marriage as it is about public accommodations. True, and as far as I'm concerned, public accommodations are very simple. We've got discrimination laws. Those laws are in place for a reason. I'm not going to get into whether or not those laws should or should not be in place.
Even in the workplace, there's laws.
Those laws exist. Those policies exist for a reason. Religion is cafeteria. Religion is invented by the believer. So if you say, God wants me to do this, what you're really saying is, and this is 100% of the time, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You are saying that 100% of the time. The God you invent always agrees with you. So when we're talking about cake bakers, we're talking about public accommodations, we're talking about discrimination laws, my position is there should never be an exception to a law for religious purposes. There should never be an exception to any law because of closely held religious beliefs. Because closely held religious beliefs is exactly the same as closely held any other beliefs.
It's a platform for discrimination.
It is. It makes a second class of citizen. Mm-hmm. If I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that I need to carry a gun into a federal building, I can't. And if I firmly believe in my heart of hearts that God wants me to carry a gun into a federal building, I still can't. No matter what you think your God wants, you have to obey the law. So when it comes to cake decorators, my question is it legal for them to discriminate on the basis of religion, on the basis of their sexuality, if not for religion? Is that legal? If it's legal to discriminate against somebody for a reason, that's fine. But if the only reason that you want to get into discrimination is because your God believes it, if you want a religious exemption to a law, that's crap, because that's just you inventing a God and saying, my God wants me to do exactly, coincidentally, what I want to do.
Right.
My God is a bigot. I'm not the bigot. My God is a bigot.
Exactly. Drew?
I was I'm curious, Dave, where do you see the future of the Todd Starnes types? Do you think it's eventually going to get to the point where they back down, or you think they're always just going to beat this thing to death?
They're beating this drum now. They lost, okay?
Yeah.
They lost,
and they're starting to be.
And what they're going to do now is they're going to keep complaining until something else comes and takes the attention away. Since these lawsuits against priests are going to, well, we were talking earlier about the Obamacare death panels. Nobody's complaining about the Obamacare death panels because they didn't exist. Well, these aren't going to exist either. Will the Todd Starnes continue to exist? Yeah, but they're going to have egg on their face in a great big way. And I think what this year's, with this ruling and their reaction has done is highlight the fact that this is about bigotry, not about love. This is about lies on their side and truth on our side. I think there's no way that an objective observer can look at this and say anything other than we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. Somebody posted up earlier today on Facebook a map of the Love versus Virginia decision back in 1967. And they posted out all the states that had laws against interracial marriage in 1967.
Right.
Guess what? They were all the red states that we have today.
Right.
This is the same thing, and it's all Bible-based bigotry. They were saying it was about the Bible before as well, and they're saying it's about the Bible now. Of course, this is a win, and this is going to be, I believe, the first in many wins for us. I think people need to realize that this is a separation of church and state issue. People need to bang the drum that marriage equality is a separation of church and state issue, just like women's equality, just like death with dignity, and for the most part, just like abortion. This is something that we really need to educate the public about, that when religion is separated from the government, the only people that lose are the people in the religion who want the power. Everybody else wins because we have a freer society.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get Paul in here and then TJ real quick, but what I want to say is basically expand on what you said, David, is like people like Todd Starnes and Pat Robertson, these type of people with the bigotry, the hate-filled messages. What's happening, and we see the demographic of Christianity, getting pretty low now. It's around 74% now. What's happening right now is they're a detriment to their fucking religious denomination. And I'm like, they're doing the hurt themselves.
Yeah,
they're really hurting their own fucking. They're digging their own fucking grave when it comes to religion. They're doing it, and I love that they're doing it. And people like us sit here and we talk about it and let people know and reason with people and tell people what's going on, why it's wrong and why we're right when you boil down to it. But real quick, and I'll get Paul in here. Is this issue what SCOTUS just decided on? This was to overrule the state's bans against same-sex marriages. I don't think churches will be sued for declining, to marry a gay couple. To my knowledge, it's never happened.
No, and there's no interest.
Correct, and there's no interest. Correct. So, Paul?
I mean, who wants to get married by a preacher that doesn't want to marry them?
Correct. Exactly.
Bingo. They just want to get married.
Bingo. Absolutely, Paul.
I mean, seriously, can I even before this, can I sue? Just go back in time a week. Can I sue a priest for not marrying? Can two Jews sue a priest for not marrying them as Jews? No.
Like in a Catholic church,
if you go to a Catholic priest and you sit down for marriage counseling,
yep.
They're going to say, in order for you to get married by me,
yep.
You have to promise to be Catholic, you have to promise to raise your kids Catholic, you have to promise and if you don't, the priest can push you away.
Correct. Yep.
That's not changing. That's always been the case, and that's always going to be the case as far as I'm concerned.
And that's a great point to bring up, man. It's a very good point. Paul?
Yeah, and actually that goes into what I was going to say too. Is Todd Starnes was talking about how they're going to tell the preachers they can't say that, they can't preach from the Bible because it's going to be a hate crime. I'm like, really? Because they do that with the Westboro Baptist Church, do they? Right. I'm pretty sure they've been preaching some pretty hateful shit, and they haven't stopped them now, have they? You fucking idiot!
And you don't see them on Fox News.
It's amazing how much our opponents lie, and when we hear our opponents lying like that, it has to remind us that we're the good guys in this fight. That this is not Judaism versus Christianity versus Islam. This is right versus wrong. This is truth versus fiction. This is truth versus lies. And we have to own that. And, it sounds like we're being pompous, but we're right anyways. And we have to own the fact that we're right and we're the good guys, and we're fighting a fight as good guys for everybody. And that if we win everything that we want, everybody wins in this country because everybody gets equal rights. That's how we know we're the good guys, because we're not pushing for special rights. We're pushing for equal rights.
It's kind of easy when you're in a chat with 5 white guys pushing for equal rights for every fucking body.
Got to be mentioned that's a very good point.
Yeah.
You know, it's in a very big way. It's our job to be the best allies we can be. And when we're talking about atheism, we are in the fight. When we're talking about the LGBTQ community, we are allies in the fight. But it's everybody's fight, and everybody wins when we all win when anybody wins. If that makes sense.
It's a fight for equality, human rights, basic human rights, civil
if
rights.
I can
humanity.
I'm sure that. Let me restate that the LGBTQ win is a win for everybody, just as much or almost as much as it is for members of that community. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant to say.
All about equality. I mean, everyone deserves to have equal treatment
under the law. Under the law, yeah.
That's the idea, yeah.
It's the American way. It's what we're here for. That's the whole concept of freedom. You don't get freedom without equality. It's just like what I said before between separation of religion and government and freedom of religion. You don't have freedom if you don't have equality. Every step away from equality is a step away from freedom.
Well said.
We have to recognize that.
Well said. Drew, TJ, any other last words before we get on to our last topic with David?
No, in the effort of moving things along, because I do want David's opinion. I appreciate your time, by the way. You've made time for us multiple times, and we really do appreciate it. So, in the interest of moving things along and hearing your opinion on the next topic, let's just hit it.
All right, let's do that. And